everyone. Welcome. So glad you are here. This session is called Identifying and Preventing Unauthorized Power BI Gateways. I am Angela Henry. And just a quick bit about me. I live in High Point, North Carolina, in the United States. And if you are unfamiliar with the geography of the United States, it's on the East Coast, right about midpoint between North and South. I am a senior architect at 3Cloud Solutions, and I have been a data platform MVP for the last 5 years. It's very exciting. And I am on social media. I used to be on Twitter at just SQL Swimmer. I've left Twitter and I am now on the Fediverse over in Mastodon at SQL Swimmer at dataplatform.social. So feel free to give me a follow over there. And if you couldn't tell by my social media handle or the picture of myself right there, I am a swimmer. But in addition to that, I am also a coach, an instructor, and an official. So I'm going to take 10 seconds, get out my soapbox and say, if you don't know how to swim, please learn. It is literally the only sport that could actually save your life. And if you think as an adult you cannot learn to swim, you're absolutely incorrect. There are folks like myself who are specially trained through US Masters to teach adults how to swim, because it's very different than teaching a child how to swim. But I also teach kids how to swim too. So that's me in a nutshell, putting the soapbox away, and we are just going to keep on rolling. So now that you know a little bit about me, I want to know a little bit about you. So first of all, since I can see the audience, I can actually ask for a show of hands. How many people here are developers? Go ahead and raise your hand if it's you. Oh, I see a hand up, 2 hands. All right, awesome, fabulous. All right, how many people here are DBAs? Oh, yep. Oh, so far the DBAs are winning. How many people are analysts? We have any analysts in here? A few? All right. Power BI admins. We got any Power BI admins in here? Oh, there's the hands. All right. This is an easy one. How many people are awesome human beings? I should see every single hand go up. Come on, put them up. Everybody. You in the dark sweatshirt, you're looking down, you're not looking up. I see you. All right, awesome. We are going to keep going. Really quickly though, if you've ever seen me present, I always take a selfie with my audience. This is a little bit tricky for me. For those of you who don't know, I was in a car accident, so I'm not super mobile. So trying to do this live is going to be kind of tricky, but I'm doing my absolute best to not fall over and keep presenting. So let me turn this on, take in my picture. All right, and now I'm going to post this on social media because we all know that nothing happens in real life until you post it on social media. All right, let's keep going. So, quick agenda. This is just a 20-minute session. I do ask if you have questions to hold them to the end because I want to get this all out there, and then we will have a couple of minutes at the end for you to ask questions. So, we are going to talk about the problem. We'll talk about identifying, and we'll talk about preventing Power BI gateways. But before we do that, I want to level set and make sure that everybody understands what a data gateway is. And honestly, a data gateway is it's software. It's software that you install on a server, a laptop, a desktop, something that you have access to. And that's all it is. It's just a piece of software. And what this software does is it allows you to access on-prem resources. It'll do a couple of other things, but in general, it allows you to access those on-prem resources. And then the other thing about gateways, they're not just for Power BI. They're for other things in the Power ecosystem, Power Automate, Power apps, all those things in the Power enterprise. So quick bit about how these gateways work. So you are going from, the whole intent is to access on-prem data. So how that happens is you have any of these apps that are showing up on this slide right here, they send a request, it hops on the service bus drives down to your on-prem gateway, and then the on-prem gateway kind of acts like an operator. And I realized that I just dated myself using the operator analogy. So let's try a different analogy since the theme here is Dungeons and Dragons this year. What about instead, it's more like a sentry. So you have a messenger that comes to the castle and the sentry is standing guard. And the messenger says, I have a message for the queen or king, if you so choose. But the sentry says, nope, you can't pass. You're not, I don't know who you are. You give me the message, I'll take it to the queen or king, and I'll be right back. They go off, they take it to the king or queen, and then they get the answer, they bring it back, and then the sentry gives it to the messenger, and then the messenger hops back on the Azure bus, and then they drive back up to the Power BI or the Power App or whatever to deliver the message, and everything is secure en route. So that is how those gateways work. They act as that go-between to make sure that your request from the cloud gets down to your on-prem resource, and then that data is returned on the Azure bus, all secure. All right, so now we're all on the same page. We know what gateways are. We know what they do, how they work. So let's talk about the problem. Well, the first problem is that anybody can connect a data gateway. If you can log into Power BI in the service, you can connect a data gateway to your tenant by default. And again, I said, they're not just for Power BI. You can have all different kinds of gateways out there from any of the Power ecosystem that's out there. Then there's personal gateways. Personal gateways are the bane of every Power BI administrator's existence. They're just everywhere. They just pop up. It's like whack-a-mole. And then if you are early in your Power BI journey, you probably have little or no governance at all. And you probably didn't even know that there were things that you could do to control everybody, connecting a gateway. That results in total chaos. It's like the wild, wild west. Cats and dogs living together on the street, wreaking havoc. It's just this huge thing. So then we have to ask the question, so how do we identify these gateways? First, we have to start there. How do we identify them? I want to see what's out there. Well, we do that with the Manage Connections and Gateways area within the Power BI service. And what this does is this allows us to go out and identify those. A couple of things, you're going to need permissions. We're going to talk about those specifically in the next slide. You'll need permissions to do this. And then there's one other thing that trips a lot of people up. There is an actual toggle switch for the tenant admin. Otherwise, if you don't turn that on, you're not going to see everything. And by default, it is turned off. So let's talk about those permissions a little bit. So who can access this gateway management? Administrators. Okay, well, that's great. Well, that's kind of broad. So how about you have to be an Azure AD global admin. You have to be a Power BI service admin, or you have to be a gateway admin. And these are all roles that are defined in your Azure Active Directory. So you have to have one of these three roles assigned to your account in order to be able to see everything that I'm going to show you today. With that, let's just hop right on over. And I'm not sure what just happened there. There we go. And we're going to take a quick look at the demo. So I have already logged into Power BI, and I have to switch screens so that I can navigate this for you. So we have Power BI. I've already logged in here, and I've made it nice and big so that you should be able to see it there. Can I get a thumbs up? Is that readable, or do I need to go big? Thumbs up. Oh, I love audience participation. Oh, you make my heart just swell. All right. So normally when you are in Power BI, if you're over here in the service, you have this little gear that shows up. But because I am zoomed in, I've just got this little ellipsis over here. So if I click that, I go to settings, and then I go to manage gateway connections and gateways. I pull that up, and I get this brand new window, and it's called data, and it's got preview in it. Now, I did want to mention that this is, I say fairly new. I think they introduced this functionality back in May of last year, so it hasn't been out for a full year, but it's there, and then they're continually improving it. So you'll notice we've got a data sources tab right here. Then we have this on-premises data gateways tab. So when I click that, look at that. I can see that I have one gateway installed. It's a standard enterprise, whatever version you want to call it. It's not a personal one. So if I come up here and I look in this upper right-hand corner, you'll see that I have a drop down. And when I do that, I can say, oh, well, now I can look and see all the personal mode ones. So let's take a look there. All right, I've got a personal one. So that means I've got two, right? One standard, one personal. So if I come here to all, yep, that's what I see. So lo and behold, I've only got two, right? But remember, there was that gotcha. Remember this tenant admin for gateways? It's defaulted to turned off. So if I turn this on, holy cow, look at that. I don't have just two. Now I can see everything. And I've got way more than two. And oh my gosh, you know, Martin's out here sticking, you know, putting personal ones out there. Oh my God, my dog Winston, when did he do that? I must have turned my back on him for like 5 seconds. I don't know. All right. So that is how we identify our gateways that are out there and installed. So how do we prevent them? Well, we're going to use that same interface that manage the connections and gateways in the Power BI service. We're going to be able to use this thing called Manage Gateway Installers to limit who can actually install, because by default, anybody can install anything in your tenant. Then we're going to, even though we can't uninstall the software, because remember, this is something that a person has access to, a machine that is not the cloud, not your Power BI service, but it's a machine, it's a server, it's a laptop, it's a desktop, something that they have access to. So we can't uninstall the software, but we can prevent connections from that software. And let's jump in and see how you do that. So if I come back over here to my Power BI tenant, up here in the upper left-hand corner, there is this Manage Gateway Installers. And it's not that intuitive to me. It just looks to me like it's text, but as soon as you hover over it, it gets that kind of light gray background to tell you that, oh yeah, you can actually click on this. And when you do that, you get this little flyout that comes up. And as you can see, by default, it's turned off. So if I turn it on, look at that. I was playing around with this earlier. I have one person, that was me. Thing to note, you cannot use security groups here. You can only use individual Azure Active Directory users. So that's one way we can prevent it. The other way is we can prevent them from connecting. How do we do that? Well, if you hover over a single gateway in here, you'll notice you get this little More Actions ellipsis. You can manage users, so you can remove anybody from being able to actually access it. And then you can also remove the connection from that gateway to your tenant. You can't uninstall the software, but you can remove the connection from the gateway to your Power BI tenant. So in reality, you can prevent unauthorized gateways in your Power BI tenant. One other thing that you can do as well, we've got, I think, 7 more minutes. I wanted to show you. So this was all in the Power BI service area. You can also manage all of the same stuff in the Power Platform Admin Center. So I've just logged in. It's just admin.powerplatform.microsoft.com. And if you go to the same thing, it looks like, let me zoom in on this because I forgot to zoom in on this window. You've got this data in the preview. When you click that, it's very similar. One thing I will tell you is that you can actually, I don't think it's as good of an interface as it has in the Power BI service, because you can't see all of them at once. You have to go by region to see which ones you have. So if you know what region you're in, great. If you don't, you know, you're going to have to search through every single one of them. There's no way to see them all at once. And I got to go back to US Central. That's my default. So again, you can prevent unauthorized data gateways in your Power BI tenant. And that is it. It was, like I said, it's just a really quick 20-minute session. Here is all my contact information. Again, I am not on Twitter anymore, but I am on Mastodon, SQL Swimmer at dataplatform.social. I've got a blog post out there, or a blog site, SQLswimmer.com. LinkedIn, I'm happy to connect with you. The only thing I'm going to ask is that if you do want to connect with me on LinkedIn, please tell me where you saw me. Being a woman in IT can be uncomfortable at times. Being a woman in IT on the internet can be just downright sketchy and scary. So if I don't recognize your name and you haven't told me where you've seen me, I am going to ignore it. Nothing personal. It's just a safety thing from my perspective. Feedback. Feedback is super important, not only for me, but for the organizers as well. I want to make sure that I am providing quality content that is allowing you to learn something. So if you didn't like my session, well, I'm sorry, I hope you did, but if you didn't, don't tell me I just didn't like it. Tell me why you didn't like it. Tell me what would make it better. Because I can't get better if I don't know what's wrong, other than you just didn't like it. I can guess, but who knows? Maybe it's you don't like the use of orange, but you're at SQLBits, so you're going to have to like orange. Anyway, all right. So I do have a slide that's got some resources on here. I will post the slide deck. I'm not sure if they are available via the agenda for SQLBits. If they are not, it will be posted on my website, SQLswimmer.com. Just go to the presentation section and you should be able to download it. I'm going to come back over here to the feedback, allow you to do what you need to do, either with your smartphone or just copy the link down, put it in, whatnot. And with that, we have 3 minutes left for questions. Are there any questions out there? Oh, I got a hand.
Can you hear me? There, you should be able to hear me now.
Hi. Magic.
Hey, so what are the most important reasons why people would restrict personal gateways in their tenant?
So question, what are the most important reasons people would restrict personal gateways? Big one is governance. You don't know what people are doing with those personal gateways, which means you have no idea whether they are uploading stuff into your tenant, adding data in there, or whether they are exporting data out. And if they are pulling data out, again, this is software that is installed on a machine that they typically have access to. So those queries, if they are working on a machine that is probably not as secure as it could be, you could potentially have breaches that way. I realize I told you that everything is secure in transit, but we all know that hackers are out there. Really, the only reasons that you should be using the personal gateways is if you have R or Python scripts that you need to run. Otherwise, you need to be setting up your gateway clusters appropriately for their workloads, for the business access and whatnot. So that's like the biggest reason is just data governance itself, because you don't know where your data is going and what it's doing. Fair enough? Okay. Anybody else? That's a great question. I want to see somebody else talking to the box. That's cool. We've never had that before. All right. Really? No one? Now, see, if I were there in person, the only person who asked the question would get the entire bag of candy. Yay. All right. Oh, and you know what? I forgot. I was supposed to be wearing my there we go. This is my costume since I can't be there for the party tonight. This is my costume. I was supposed to wear it the whole time and I completely forgot. So does everybody know who I am or what I am? We got only a couple of hands. If you are a D&D person, you probably know. I don't know anything about D&D, so this is one of my friends who said, oh yes, this is a great costume. Anybody? Raise your hand, use the box, shout it out. We got like less than a minute here.
Oh man, okay, I'm not a D&D person, but it's a beholder, right?
It is a beholder. Nice
I
job.
learned
See, now
that.
you would get the other bag of candy.
Yay.
Nice job. Awesome. Well, I hope everybody enjoys the conference. I think there's only like one or two more sessions today, and then you've got all day tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Bye.